How we doing, folks? It is Saturday, about 100 degrees outside, and I woke up this morning and noticed I'm down in SoCal, down in Southern California. My Molly here, you can see her in the middle, is having some swim bladder issues. She's got her head down, vertical in the water. She'll try to right herself, can't quite get there. This has happened before. I think this is my fault and my mistake in the way I've been feeding her, especially too many flakes up on top of the surface of the water. She's probably taking in too much air. I don't know if the flakes are expanding. I'm going to change my feeding regimen to twice a day in very small amounts. I've been feeding them just kind of one, a little bit at night, and probably feeding too much at night. So instead of doing one feeding, I'm going to split it up into two small feedings, one in the morning and one at night. What I'm going to do today, it is salt bath time. I'm going to give her a salt bath. She's actually never been out of the tank. She was born in this tank, had her about a year and a half, and since then I've donated so many fish, this is getting a little bit sparse. But I don't think this is swim bladder disease. I think this is just a swim bladder issue. Maybe there's some air trapped in her intestinal walls. Even though the swim bladder is not attached to the intestinal walls, maybe it's pressing up against the swim bladder. That might be the issue. Maybe we got to get some air and some stuff out of there. So we're going to give her a salt bath. We're going to give her an Epsom salt bath. Epsom salt, not to be confused with aquarium salt. Epsom salt is magnesium sulfate. Very different than sodium chloride, which is aquarium salt. Epsom salt helps the fish, helps reduce swelling, and it helps to get any kind of air or anything out of them. It kind of acts as a laxative. And I'm hoping that'll help. So let me show you what I'm going to do this morning. Hopefully this will help her. But she's otherwise real healthy, real spry, all over the tank, eats really well, probably too much. So this is a little bladder issue, and we're going to go about fixing it. Let me show you what I'm doing. Here's what I've done. The first white bucket that you see is more of a concentrated salt bath, the first one she's going to go in. And that is a gallon of water with a tablespoon of Epsom salt. I put the aquarium salt out there, by the way, just to show you what not to do in this case. We don't want to use aquarium salt. That could actually make things worse. We're using the Epsom salt. I got a bag at Rite Aid. It was super cheap. I think it was $2. But I've got a tablespoon of the Epsom salt in that white bucket to the gallon. That's going to be her primary bath. She's going to be in there for 10 minutes. 10 to 15 is good. 15 on the extreme side, 10 on the not so extreme. I'm going to try 10 just because she's never been out of the tank. On the right-hand side, I've got the quote-unquote recovery bath. That has a quarter of a tablespoon of Epsom salt in it. It's a little bit more diluted. So I'm going to give her the bath first in the white bucket with a tablespoon of Epsom salt. Keep her in there for 10 minutes. Watch her and make sure she doesn't stress out. Then I'm going to move her for about 5 minutes into the bucket on the right, which is the diluted Epsom salt bath with about a quarter of a tablespoon in there, also in a gallon. So we're going to make sure that she kind of reacclimates to regular water. Then we're going to put her back in the tank. I hope this helps. I haven't done this in a long time, but maybe this will help her. So I'm going to grab her out of the tank and get her in her first bath. All right, folks, I got her in the bucket. She was pretty hard to catch, actually. Knew the net was coming, even though she's never been in a net before. I'm keeping a close eye on her. I've heard rumors of fish passing out, in the salt bath. So if she does, I'm going to get her in the revival tank on the right. And she's trying to jump out. She's never been out of her aquarium before. Obviously, she's not liking this too much. But I don't see her overly stressed yet. She's just kind of swimming around in circles. So I'm going to keep an eye on her. I've got a timer running for 10 minutes. Obviously, this is dechlored water, but I'm going to watch her, keep her in there for 10 minutes, and now she's kind of swimming and doing, it looks like okay. And after 10 minutes, taking her out, putting her in the bucket on the right, which is the diluted Epsom salt bath. So she's not too happy, never been out of her tank before, but we're going to see how she does here. So I'm going to come back at you in about 8 minutes. All right, folks, we're about halfway into the bath. About 5 minutes. I'm still keeping an eye on her. She's doing okay. She's swimming all right. Seemed to have calmed down a little bit after being first put in the bucket. So got about 5 minutes left. I'm going to keep an eye on her in here. She is still kind of going a little bit vertical in there, but she's hanging out in the corner. There she is. So another 5 minutes. We'll go in the bucket on the right. All right, folks. So 10 minutes in the concentrated Epsom salt bath. We've moved her over to the right to the diluted Epsom salt bath. Again, this is about a quarter of a tablespoon in that bath. So I'm going to leave her in there for about 10 more minutes. Just let her reacclimate to that environment, and then I'm going to get her back into the main tank. So she made it through the first bath, no problem. Now mollies, they can live in brackish water, so that's, I don't know that the salt is as much of a bother to her, but she did well in the first one. So we're going to spend 10 minutes in here reacclimating. I'm going to, again, keep an eye on her, and you see her kind of squirming there a lot. That's just, she goes vertical and tries to correct it. So this is just the swim bladder deal, but doing a little bit better in this tank, obviously with the lower salinity content that she is more used to. So we're going to spend 10 minutes here, move her back in the main tank. All right, folks, got her back in the tank. Not her best Saturday morning. She did not enjoy that bath as much, but again, never been out of her tank, so that was a first for her. When I do water changes, I keep the fish in there. No big deal, but she got her back in. She is swimming around and reacclimating to her home tank. So again, we went from a Epsom salt concentrated bath, which was a tablespoon per gallon, 10 minutes there, moved her over to the other bucket where the diluted quarter of a tablespoon in the gallon bucket to dilute her a little bit, to reacclimate her, and then back into the tank. So we'll see what happens. I'm going to keep feeding her peas tonight and stay away from the flake food for another day or two. I did fast them last night. We'll do peas tonight, and then get her back into the flake food when she's ready. Anyway, hope that helps somebody. Please leave me a comment and let me know. Hope you guys have a great weekend.